we don't see that there is a balance of coverage in the media. So there is lack of balance in covering about, and that is because there is no comprehensiveness in news coverage. For example, a given story, or there is an event happening, and that has to be covered from different angles, that we can frame the news or the story in a better way, so that it can help for the societal building. But in this case, it's media building, I mean media framing, or the framing of the ideas, framing of the issues, framing of the news, have been much overshadowed by different interests, economic interests, ideological or political interests, and sometimes societal interests have been deterring the well practicing of journalism, and those things could have been addressed. And if those things could be better addressed, and if mainly run by professionals who are capable in all the ways, so the media can really work for the better media. But there are different philosophies in regard to media practices, and we have got Western media, for example, working with libertarian philosophy or theory of media practices, and there have been ways in which, for example, the media has been practiced by the sort of development journalism as it has been witnessed in the Asian countries as well as in Africa. There have been debates. No matter how the two different schools of thought, what the media is expected is to become the real forum, the forum for public discussion. It has to become an agent of change. It has to become the catalyst for the overall societal transformation or changes. So these things could have been addressed well, and the media can work in a better direction.
Presence of freedom and free access to information allows journalists to stick to their professional principles and practices. So when we say freedom of journalists, freedom from whom? One is freedom from government. Okay, any kind of pressure coming from government should be properly analyzed, whether it harms practice of journalism or not. Sometimes this pressure comes from private entities. Okay, while journalists are covering issues, there are issues that these private entities do not want to be covered, and other powerful forces. Even the journalists need independence from their editorial management, the structure itself. If your boss tells you to cover this and ignore that, that is not being free. So your coverage can also be hindered at an organizational level. So these all processes need to be properly addressed in order for journalism to properly function. Okay, so in order to be socially responsible, in order to serve the society, there are a lot of things that should be fulfilled for journalists and media organizations.
Who is responsible for poor practice of journalism in Ethiopia?
The media management is also affected by the political interest and the political ideas taken by those who lead the media. The other challenge is it comes from the public understanding of the journalism practice in this country. Journalism, as I said, it is something which is based on the principle of serving the truth, but the people come to understand that journalism in some cases is telling lies, and they sometimes equate or associate, maybe it can be a joke, or in different ways, that if somebody is speaking too much on a given issue, and the people level or nickname that person as a journalist or a journalist. So that could not be could not be a minor issue to talk about, but it tells you about the social understanding of the practice of journalism. There are misconceptions about the practice of journalism, and that is one of the challenges in the media practices. And finally, those private media and the government media could have got their common forum to work for the betterment of the journalism practices. For example, we used to have, or we recently came to know that there is a media council, and in some countries they call it media commissions or different, media board, and the likes have been, leveled. And in those cases, those who were, named as, media council members and the likes are not effectively practicing their real professional responsibilities, and as a result of that, the media has not been working towards democracy and to build a better society in this country. And there are many other reasons why the media is practicing at a lower level in a poor professional way.
Previous question is in relation to who are responsible on the existing conditions. So attributing responsibility is very difficult, but still all stakeholders share those responsibilities. If you take the media lack professionalism because of absence of professionals, as my friend was mentioning. There's lack of professionals who are trained properly in the media industry. There is this general biased assumption that anyone can be a journalist. That is very wrong approach. Anyone cannot be a journalist because journalism is a profession. So to be a professional, you need to go through certain academic and skill-wise training. So when you put people who can write or who can speak properly without knowledge of journalism, it harms the profession as well, because when you are attended into journalism colleges or universities, there are a number of courses that you are given as a journalist: media law and ethics. There are theories about effect of media on society. In the absence of that, it's very difficult for an individual to serve society properly because of absence of those knowledge. Media is a very powerful instrument, and using it needs a training, theoretical as well as practical training. So one area is lack of professionals. The other one is from media owners. Some media outlets are owned by government, others are by private entities. Private entities to some extent go for profit. They can sustain their business otherwise. But at the same time, we also see some media outlets being partitioned, inclining towards certain groups, putting themselves in a position of serving some groups instead of the whole society. That approach, a partition approach, is also another problem. When you come to government media, it's about using journalists, media organizations, just to pass policies and other strategies to the public. And there is lack of feedback from the public about those, the interest of the public on those strategies, which are at the end of the day determine their life. Okay, so from the owners as well as from journalists, you see these problems.
How the media provide the chance for both leading and contesting parties?
The broadcast proclamation was mainly held by the government till recent times, as you mentioned, but after the coming of the first commercial radio broadcasts in this country. And also we do have more than 46 community radios in this country. And these have been good developments in the broadcast practices of in this country. But still, there is a long way to go where we are having 100 million citizens or people in this country, so as to meet the needs and the demands of our society. So there is a need to work and to pacify the practice of media so that we can build the society that we really require.
The reason why media is needed is to allow the public to make their decision based on informed, to provide informed decisions on, for example, during election. So the parties should be given a chance to introduce their programs, what they plan for the future in the country. So the media are there to provide them forum without partial approach. Okay, all the existing parties should be properly given equal chance to get access to the public, because these parties need to use mass media in order to reach large number of people. So the media are there to provide forum for these people in order for them to reach the public. So it is a responsibility of the media to provide forum. So far what we have been seeing is that some parties may get relatively higher proportion of time in the media, while others do not even see, they are not provided any time on the media. So what media is required to do is to provide these people the chance to present themselves, and then let the public decide on who should be the right leader in the future. So the decision should be the public's. So ignoring time and space for some parties and giving the others more chance is not a right way of treating parties. And parties should also use the time given properly.